Hello everyone, if you are at all interested in any of the court cases going on in the state of California that could potentially grant you the ability to exercise some of your rights that have been taken away from you, yeah, keep in mind, your rights to keep and bear arms are inherent whether or not the law says you can or not, but these lawsuits are attempting to make it legal for you to do the things that you should be able to do anyway. We have an update with the court case that I am involved in, Boland v. Bonta. I am actually being forced to appear in court to give a statement. This is in regards to the motion for preliminary injunction. There's also some other things that we're going to be talking about, as well as things like the Duncan mag ban case. So if you're interested in that, it's not a huge update. It's just some interesting things that are going on with that, as well as the CRPA is sending out warning letters to people within the sheriff's departments, or sending letters to the sheriff's departments who are not allowing the people within their jurisdiction to exercise their right to conceal carry a firearm, even after the whole Bruin decision changing the game and being a game-changing court decision nationwide. So before we get going though, I do want us to talk about the sponsor of today's video. It is Coolfire Trainer. These are actually really cool. I've wanted one of these for a long time. What it is essentially a replacement barrel and spring with a little adapter that allows CO2 cartridges to charge this up. So normally when you dry fire a gun, you're just gonna pull the trigger, it's gonna go click, you rack the slide, click, rack the slide. There's some workarounds, but they're not really that good, and they don't allow you to use the actual trigger inside of your gun. If you have a Glock or any other standard type firearm like SIGs, HKs, M&Ps, basically if you have a normal production firearm that's common, you can do it as simple as this. We just press here, charge it up, and then that is cool. What this allows you to do is dry fire, but with recoil that requires you to actually control and manage and follow your sights. It's a lot more than maybe a 22, but it's not quite as much recoil as a 9mm like this gun is, but it bridges that gap from dry fire to live fire very well. Very thankful to have this sent out to me from Coolfire Trainer. I'm really happy to have one of these. This is awesome. Thank you. Let's talk about the motion for preliminary injunction in the Boland versus Bonta case, the case that I am a plaintiff of. Now, the California Rifle and Pistol Association filed a motion for preliminary injunction, which would have potentially made it so that the handgun roster as we currently know it would not be enforced if that preliminary injunction was granted to us favorably. It's not unusual from what I've been told, but it's not super common either for the judge to request all of the plaintiffs and the defendants to come in and make a statement and give testimony. It's not unusual, but it's not super common. But they are asking us, me included, to go down to the courts on January 23rd, that's a Monday, and I will be giving a testimony. Now, I'm really struggling because I would, really like an opportunity to wear my my heat reproduction mag vest, but for some reason I feel like that would be a little inappropriate, so I think I'm gonna have to resist the urge for now, and we could do LARPing at some other point in time. I'm gonna be putting a lot of work in trying to be prepared so that I don't embarrass myself and embarrass anyone else on my behalf. But this is going to be an interesting motion because if moving forward this is favorable, the state of California would potentially be like any other state when it comes to being able to purchase a handgun. So this was a Generation 3 Glock 34 from the factory, and now it looks all funky like this. In any other state, that would be fine, but in California, I can only buy bone stock, made in Austria, not made in USA, Generation 3 Glocks of specific types. Not fun. If you want any sort of off-roster gun, you're gonna be paying a lot of money. So that's why we are involved in the Boland versus Bonta case from the CRPA with Michelle and Associates. Now, speaking of Michelle and Associates, one of their lawyers, Moros Costas, over on Twitter, great follow. If you have a Twitter account, I highly recommend you following him. He's constantly posting little updates and behind the scenes with some of these court cases. So sometimes you might be wondering, what are these orgs doing with our money? Well, they're working. They are working really hard. It's just a lot of the stuff they do isn't flashy and exciting, but sometimes it is. Sometimes it is interesting. And I wanted to share this tweet from Costas. He said, "We just got the state's Benitez order spreadsheet for Duncan." So if you're not aware of what that was, Duncan, Miller, Rhodes, and Fouts, I believe, the mag, assault weapon ban, ammo, and billy club ban lawsuits were all in front of Benitez. Benitez said to every party saying, hey, you have 30 days to provide a list of analogous laws and what sort of status happened to them. Did they get overturned? Are they still in place? Were there ever challenges to them? You have 30 days to provide that list. Now, CRPA and Michelle and Associates just received the state's list of laws, and he gave a little snippet, a little highlight of a few of them. And 3 of these laws that they provided, here's one of them, description of regulation, prohibited slaves from carrying guns. Then the next one, prohibited Negro, mulatto, or Indian from possessing or carrying a gunpowder, shot club, or other weapon or ammunition. The next one, prohibited Negro or mulatto from carrying gunpowder, shot, club, or other weapon. So it's almost become a meme of the comment that people on our side would typically say of gun control is racist. Gun control originates with controlling people of color from being able to own guns. And now it's very interesting because the handgun roster, this is talking about Duncan here, but the handgun roster is very much, it was whether they intended it or not, they did not want people to be able to access and acquire inexpensive firearms. So they created a system that would artificially increase the cost and reduce the supply of cheap and inexpensive firearms. Those laws disproportionately affect certain demographics more. The law is not racist, but the law impacts certain groups more than others. It was when those certain groups started getting firearms that all these laws started getting put into place. I am just patiently waiting for the state of California to argue in Boland v. Bonta that the reason that they should allow this ban to be upheld is because back in the day, they banned black people and Indians from owning guns. But that's just one thing. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about today was about the CRPA's efforts to prevent sheriff's departments and police departments from preventing their constituents and their residents from being able to legally conceal carry a firearm. Alameda County traditionally was a county that prior to Bruin, nobody got a CCW. Interestingly enough, San Francisco County, I actually know people personally who are moving through the process and it's been fairly easy and the restrictions are fairly non-existent. It's almost like they, instead of doubling and tripling down, just decided to give up and say, yeah, you know what, sure, whatever, get your goddamn CCW, I don't care, do it. Whereas Alameda County is doubling down. They're requiring people to still give good cause. They're requiring people to provide information about security cameras that they have on their home, even though they're not allowed to ask that. They're requiring people to do psych evaluations. They're requiring people to only be allowed to have one gun on their permit. The list of things that they have been requiring has just been getting longer and longer as more and more people have come forward with the things that they've requested. And it's all just in an effort to prevent you, if you are an Alameda County resident, from exercising your right to keep and bear arms. You have that right regardless of what certain text in paper or digital form says. You have that right. The state does not want you to exercise that right. So they place laws that will put you in jail for exercising that right that you still have, regardless of whether or not the law allows for it. So Alameda County now has 2 weeks to respond, or they're going to be likely facing some legal action. Now, when faced with this sort of threat, other counties have backed down. We will see what Alameda County does moving forward. If you guys have any questions, any comments down below, would be very much appreciated. I appreciate the support. I haven't been uploading a lot lately, just had a lot going on, but I appreciate everyone's support. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.